Hello, my name is Jesse Meekum with another episode of the Jesse Meekum Show, and I am here each week to obsess out loud about spending, purposefully saving aspirationally, and giving joyfully. It all comes down to just giving every dollar a job. I want to simplify, uncomplicate, streamline your finances for you. Today I want to dive appropriately deep for what will be a short podcast episode into our 5 questions that radically transform how you think about, not just how you think about money, but actually the doing of the money. The figuring out of exactly how do you spend what you have? Can you afford this? And those questions are, they're pretty awful. They're pretty stress-inducing. They're rough. And these 5 questions will help you navigate all of that with ease. It will give you a clarity that you can't believe you ever lived without once you have it. So the first question, we call it the reality question, and it is pretty simple, except don't let it confuse you in its profundity. I'll say it that way. Don't miss it. Don't miss out on how profound this can be. The question, what does this money need to do before I'm paid again? Now, the operative thing here is this money that you have on hand, this finite pile. You never want to ask this question where, what will I do with money that I'm going to get? You don't have that money yet, so you can't ask yourself this question. This question is purely about getting your arms and hands around that big or small pile of money that is finite and scarce and fixed, and say, what should this money do before I'm paid again? When it's scarce and finite and fixed, you start to feel trade-offs. You start to feel the clarity. Eyes wide open, trading off. If I do this, I can't do that. That is the recipe for clarity. The rest of the questions are just meant to have you feel the trade-offs through different lenses, essentially. But they all feed the clarity. And when you have clarity, you don't second guess. And when you aren't second guessing, you are living, as we call it, spendfully. So, first question, the reality question, rooted in the reality of the money you have on hand right now. What does this money need to do before I'm paid again? 2, we call this the stability question. What large or less frequent expenses do I need to prepare for? That's it. Now, you might think, large expense could be, coming up really soon, or it could be a little further away. It might be Christmas. It could be a vacation you're going to take in 5 months. It could be a new car that you want to buy, but you're going to pay cash for it and not be a sucker, right? It could be something not so fun, like both of your water heaters going out. And it's personal. It's personal. But that just happened, and we dealt with that. What large or less frequent expenses do you need to prepare for? Is the roof going to need something? What about that leaky faucet? Do you own a home? Because my heavens, boy, do you need to prepare. Do you own a car? You need to prepare. Do you own kids? You need to prepare. Own kids. If only it were so easy. Third question. We have reality, we have stability. Our third question is about building resilience. What can I set aside for next month's spending? That's it. What we're trying to do is have you step away from that all too common and ubiquitous financial edge where everyone just teeter-totters, just foot after foot after foot of stress, and you can back away from that edge. You don't need to walk so close to it. It takes a little bit of work, but all we're doing is we're establishing reality. We're starting to do some trade-offs with the future you, like the one that's at Christmas or the one that is replacing the water heaters or whatever it may be. And now we're also saying, well, what about the future me that's just next month? What if we're at the start of August and I have all of my money waiting for the month instead of staring at the month and hoping that there will somehow be some money? So the third question is meant as you work toward setting aside money for next month's spending, what you're doing is just building your resilience. When things happen, you can maintain your stability. Now, fourth question might be my favorite. The fifth question is probably my favorite. This is creation. What goals, large or small, should I prioritize? What goals, large or small, do I want to prioritize? Now that you're dealing with reality, you're stable, and you're developing some resilience, and you don't have to wait until you've arrived at those things. You won't ever arrive. You'll just kind of feel it. It's a dynamic thing. But when you've felt like you've set enough aside for next month's spending, you're dealing with some future stuff for yourself, you're grounded in reality, it's time for you to create something. And one of the greatest things money can do for us is create the life that we want. And to be able to ask yourself, what goals, what manifestations would I like my money to help me with? That's the secret. Do you want to begin to learn new thing, take a new class, build something, demolish something, dig a hole, fill the hole in, buy a backhoe? These are just things on my mind. And in that way, you're able to just have money start to serve you instead of feeling like you're always just answering to the money. It's a glorious place to be. So don't ever forget that money is meant to be spent. And it's meant to be spent on things that will bring you joy and things that will have you say, my word, I love how I spend my money. Now, this also means that you're paying the electric bill. You're not like my 15-year-old son that like everything's just like, whatever I want. He's got no bill. He's not worried about anything. He's just, living his full life. Boy, is he about to learn some new things in a couple of years. But that's not us. We've got bills. We've got things we got to pay for, things we want to pay for, like a house for our kids to live under, things like that. But you also this is some permission for you to be able to take some of that money and say, what do I want? And selfishly, sure, of course. It's literally for you. So yes, it is for yourself. Our last and my favorite question is what we call the flexibility question, very creatively named. What changes do I need to make, if any? You have this plan based on answering the 4 other questions. So you would just ask yourself, what changes do I need to make? And you look over your plan. And if you're using YNAB, which, by the way, if you're new here, you just go to ynab.com/Jesse, and the app walks you through answering these questions. It kind of throws all of the trade-offs right in your face in this really, really friendly, useful way. And you get to feel the trade-offs, feel the scarcity, and that glory of glories. You get to feel the clarity. You get to start to know how you want to spend your money and then spend accordingly. So if you haven't tried YNAB, it's a free 34-day trial. I'll tell you why it's 34 days at some other episode. We don't ask for a credit card or anything like that up front. It's just give it a shot and see if you don't feel some clarity within the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of giving the app a run. So ynab.com/Jesse. Anyway, I got kind of sidetracked on that very important note. But the flexibility question, what we want to do is recognize that, pretend you were sitting in class and your teacher just gave you a quiz. And you did your best with the information you had in your head. And maybe they even said, hey, it's open note. So you've got a book here and you're doing your best. You're looking through the book, through the chapters, you're looking at your notes, and you're thinking through all that your teacher said, trying to remember things, and you answer as best you can. And your head's been down focused the whole time. And then after you're done and you filled out that test, you look up and on that whiteboard, your teacher has written the answer for every single question. The answer for question 1 was A, question 2 was D. And you think, whoa, wait, the answer is just right there? And then your teacher says, there are the answers. And you're like, are we grading the test? What's going on? You're like, no. Before we grade the test, if anyone wants to change their answers, given new information, just go ahead. Well, if you aren't a fool, you would change any wrong answers to those right answers, and you're now aware they're right because the teacher told you so. You have access to, as they say, better information, and you make the changes. That's what this 5th question is. You made the plan. You answered the other 4 questions. You figured out the reality you're in. You figured out how to increase and maintain stability. You figured out how to add a little bit of resilience to your system, and you figured out how to have your money create a little bit of the life you want. And then the 5th question is, well, given new information, is there anything you want to change? And maybe 2 weeks later, something happens, like your long-lost aunt brings you this big fat inheritance, or your long-lost uncle comes and asks you for some money. I'm not sure how those things work, but they could happen. And that new information, the new aunt, the new uncle, that would cause you to say, whoa. All right, what changes, if any, do I need to make? And you would make changes accordingly. That 5th question, the one about flexibility, it's the idea of bending, not breaking. It's the idea of, there's wind, there's weather, and it kind of strengthens you over time to realize, I can withstand this. So make sure as you set your best of intentions, full of excitement, eager to get started, make sure that you recognize that you're only going to answer that test with the information you have. And when new, better information comes along, like the teacher gave you the answer, you need to change your plan accordingly. These 5 questions are clarifying. They give you the clarity you need to be able to say, can I afford this? Can I spend this? And that is priceless. You don't want to walk through life second guessing every time you spend that precious resource, the resource you spend so much time earning. Let's enjoy the spending. The way you enjoy it is to live spendfully. These 5 questions get you there instantly. No more second guessing. We earn the money. We love how we spend the money. That's the exchange we want to have happen here at YNAB. I'm supposed to say on YouTube now, subscribe, things like that. So go ahead and do that. But more importantly than that, remember, you must, as every one of these questions guides you to do this, you must do that one thing that all of them are having you do. And you're just giving every dollar a job. Every single dollar has a job. Reality, the now. What do you need? Stability. What's coming up? Resilience. How can I handle this going forward? What do I want my money to create for me? How can I be more flexible? We're just giving every dollar a job. It is magical.